Good morning. I'm pleased to be back in Israel. This is my second visit since the horrific attacks by Hamas on October 7th. I joined President Biden on his visit on October 18th, and our message then is the same as my message today, which is that the United States stands with Israel. As President Biden has said many times, Israel has a right, indeed a duty, to defend itself against Hamas, a terrorist group that committed the worst massacre of the Jewish people since the Holocaust, that used rape and sexual violence to terrorize Israeli women, that continues to hold hostages, women, the elderly, the sick, the wounded, and hide in tunnels they've purposely built under civilian infrastructure. I have and will continue to state President Biden and the United States' commitment to preserving space for peace, for a two-state solution where Israel's security is guaranteed. The Israeli people need and deserve to live in peace and security with their neighbors in a region that is integrated, dynamic, and stable. That is what we are working toward. That is what I discussed with my counterparts and interlocutors here in Israel, and that is President Biden's fundamental vision for the future of this region. Different types of munitions require different types of military operations, meaning the method by which bombs are delivered that don't have the tail kits on them is different in terms of how the planes fly, in terms of how the targets are selected. And they all go through the same process, a process by which Israel selects targets and tries to distinguish between targets that hit Hamas and those that might take the lives of innocent civilians. At the end of the day, what we have consistently said is that Israel has the intent to make sure that it is drawing those distinctions clearly and in a sustainable way, and we want to see the results match up to that. That's a conversation that I had in full with them today and yesterday as well, and we'll continue to do that, including on the type of munitions they use and when they use a certain type of munitions, how those are delivered, to ensure that from the United States' perspective, they are fulfilling their obligations, their responsibilities as a state to international humanitarian law. We do not believe that it makes sense for Israel or is right for Israel to occupy Gaza, reoccupy Gaza over the long term, and that we would like to see ultimately that transition take place, and we can continue to work through the circumstances and the context for that transition. When Israel launched this campaign to root out the terrorist threat that Hamas poses to the state of Israel, it made clear from the beginning that this war would proceed in phases. We are now in the middle of a high-intensity phase with ongoing ground operations, military operations, in both the northern half and the southern half of Gaza. But there will be a transition to another phase of this war, one that is focused in more precise ways on targeting the leadership and on intelligence-driven operations that continues to deal with the ongoing threat that Hamas poses. We do believe that the Palestinian Authority needs to be revamped and revitalized, needs to be updated in terms of its method of governance, its representation of the Palestinian people, and that will require a lot of work by everybody who is engaged in the Palestinian Authority, starting with the president, Mahmoud Abbas, who I will go see. And ultimately, it's going to be up to the Palestinian people to work through their representation, and it will be up to those leaders of the Palestinian Authority to work through the types of steps that they need to take to reform and update the authority for the situation we face today.